Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm Christian. I'm the host of the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur Show. And hopefully, you like today's episode. And if you haven't done so, make sure you click the notification bell so you hear every single time we have a new episode coming on. So, today, I thought I'd talk to you guys a little bit about morning routines. And for me, morning routines, I knew the benefit of morning routine. I seen other people do some stuff, but it took me a really long time to kind of get it under control. I'm still working on it. But for me, a morning routine was a life changer. People which know me that we went through a little bit of health scare a few weeks ago, a few months ago now, and for me, having that morning routine or routine overall makes all the impact. So, with that, I want to say thanks for being here today and to listen to my rant about morning routine, especially if you're an entrepreneur. And I feel anybody who is want to make a big difference in their life and their career is an entrepreneur. So, where do you currently feel you at with your daily routines? Because I honestly feel that most people see the outcome, but it's more than that. Because today I want to look at what are some of the inputs in order for you to get this done. Because this is typical, it's transparent, and it's also a look into routines that not just support you and your success, and it's also something you can adopt and kind of move forward. For me, there was three things I learned doing a morning routine. The first thing is you need something which kind of gets you excited and kind of gets you focused, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it. The second thing for me is a routine is for me more than just a format or scheduling something. So for me, even my creative time, I schedule it. And then also for me, I'm forcing myself to walk away from my desk. And that's probably for me the hardest thing around that because I feel like I bother my staff and we do some stuff which is, I don't want to call it not ethical, but I feel like I bug them all the time. So, but for me, there's one thing I learned, and it is that structure isn't restriction, it's a support system. So your energy is the greatest, really the greatest asset you have, not your task list. So for me, that was a great learning. And because for me, um, if you look at different examples you have out there around mental bandwidth, especially running multiple projects, that all of them require a different format from you. And for me, the other thing around why routines matter is because it's really a shift from time management to energy management. That's for me is the biggest thing. And for me, I never did a really good job managing routines and I never really got a job following it. But for me, doing it now, I think makes the most impact. So for me, I wake up between 6 and 6:30 every day. So that's for me when I wake up. There's three things I learned. Don't have your phone next to you. People saying it's the electronic waves which kind of prevent you from sleeping better and not looking at the phone. So for me, I don't have it in the same room, but it's far enough away so I can't reach it. The second thing for me is really important is movement, some kind of movement, stretching, whatever you want to do, because every animal does it. A cat does it, a dog does it. They all stretch. So I think stretching is really important. And that's for me helped me because I used to have lower back pains all the time. And I now I don't because I'm stretching and I'm also sleeping on an EMF mat. And that's a whole separate thing, but we can talk about it the next time. And then also for me, my routine really came from Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins had something he calls the hour of power. And he talks about movement, talking about journaling, because if a life is worth living, it's worth recording. And then there needs to be some kind of faith or spirituality alignment or meditation. And for me, Meditation is full transparency. I don't do it consistently, but I'm working on it because for me, I see the biggest impact on what I do around meditation. So I do it usually at night before I fall asleep. And I do something called the I am meditation. If you haven't done so, you need to check it out. It's pretty amazing. So, and there's a few things I avoid. The first thing I avoid is checking emails, checking social media, and all of those things is I absolutely avoid. And then I also now avoid skipping breakfast or go into a meeting just called in. So for me, now when I take a meetings, I look at what's going on, how can I serve him better, and there's a little routine I do in the morning before every meeting because I honestly feel having a routine clears that mental clutter and it builds just intentionality because for me a meeting and being present for somebody is all about being intentional. So that's my morning. Also, what I have learned for this whole little health scare I had, and I always knew about it and I didn't do it, is also there needs to be, if you want to call it a midday or a project focus or a midday meditation or a midday timeout. So for me, I schedule now my lunch every single time. And for me, that's two reasons. So here at the office, I make lunch and we order sometimes in, and then I have lunch with my team because for me, it's a way to reconnect with them. It's a way to kind of hopefully increase team spirit, and for me to learn more about them. And for me, that's why I do that. And then for me also, in order for me to stay energized for the rest of the day, doing that midday check-in, whatever you want to call it, works really, really well. And for me, you know, hydration was a big one because there was time I just chugged 20 ounces of water because now I'm sipping it more. Also, what we're doing is breath work and then stepping away from a computer. For me, that's the biggest thing. It was so hard for me to kind of just walk away. And that's something I'm constantly working on because if you protect your creative time like it's a client meeting, I think it actually is the same because it is. It's equally as important. And also, what it allows me to do is to say no to, you know, delegating and low impact task and all of this stuff I'm not really want to focus on. Having a routine is going to help it on. Because for me, I honestly believe, as I said, um, you need to stay energized and especially when you do back-to-back meetings and we don't do them anymore. So I do mornings. So I'm here at the office by 8 and then we work do about 12 from 12 to 1. So we have our lunch meeting scheduled and then we work from 1 to probably 5, 6. I do my dinner. And then when we have late night things, I come back a little bit for my late night meetings. So I also cut out all of my things I did on the weekend. I used to come in on Saturday for half day and a full day on Sunday. So I try to spend more time with my family. So the next thing is I want to talk to you about the whole evening flow. And for me, evening is it's around reflection, it's around rest, it's around realignment. And that's for me the beauty of it. You know, if you sit in, if you haven't seen our journal, the Made to Be Great journal we created a few years ago, I'm following this every day. What worked? What didn't work? What needs to be prioritized for tomorrow? And for me, doing this, it just kind of gives me clarity before the next day. And you could do this via digital notes, you can do this via voice memos, whatever works for you. And then there is what we call a wind down practice. And that's for me, no screen. And you can choose whatever that hour is. So no screen after hour. I'm reading or do quiet time. For me, that's where I do my meditation. And then we have something we call a gratitude journal. And for me, you can speak it, you can write it. It's a really great way of saying thanks. The day I had the opportunity to meet with XYZ and it was amazing. And I learned so much from that person. Or, hey, just yesterday, we launched one of our clients' book And we know that book would totally change the way they not just commute and show up for their clients. I think the book is absolutely a game changer. And we launched that yesterday. So for me, high quality rest is really the fuel for performance for the next day. And for me, also, being full transparent, this was something I had to work on. I used to sleep 4 hours, 3.5 hours. And now I try to do 7. So, because for me, there's a few mistakes I have made. And I think there's also some productivity traps. The whole hustle culture, I think, is broken. And for me, I was in that, 100 hours a week. And I make this joke that I left a 40-hour job, to be my own boss for a 100-hour job. But for me, I think the hustling, we need to kind of change that. And then also, you can't forget about motion, because I honestly feel motion is progress. And if you move, things will move for you. Busy doesn't build dreams, you know, clarity does. And so for me, making that shift was a huge thing for me. So let me talk to you about what are some signs when you're doing too much. I think it's fatigue. It's kind of being all over the place. It's resentment towards your own calendar because it's always full. I think there's burnout. And when you put all of that together, that doesn't build dreams. Clarity does, because clarity helps fatigue. Clarity helps to clear your calendar, and clarity feels and helps around burnout. So let me ask you, what do you do the rest? How do you kind of recharge for the next day? What are some of your productivity hacks? Not luxuries, productivity hacks. If you could please write them on the comments below, because for me, I learned that every time I ask a question like that and you guys answer honestly, that I learn a ton from you. So for me, around daily routines for entrepreneurs, there's some takeaways I want you to have and some action steps. I want you to define your 3 top non-negotiables. It could be movement, no calls before 10 a.m., or dinner with your family every night. So, what are your 3 non negotiables? And then also, what is a thing you can identify one energy anchor for you and which is part of your day? And for me, going home, and I just told the story of spending time with my family. And I went with my 2 youngest. My daughter drove me yesterday. By the time I got out to the car, I had to sit in the back. And I love that. My 2 youngest ones in the front and me in the back. And that's my anchor for the day. I love my family, and I do what I do because I want my family to have choices. So I have a challenge for you. What is your audit, not just audit for your current routines? Where are you leaking energy and focus? So if you could please write it on the comments below. I'm curious because for me, it took me a long time to get to this. And I'm not really sure what was the holdup, because for me, I always thought being busy means that you're being creative. And I feel like we equally as creative and equally as much of an output now as we did as we were as busy as we was. We had my calendar scheduled from 7 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. You don't need that. Also, you don't need to mimic somebody else's routine. Do what works for you. Create one and align. That needs to be aligned with not just your goals, but who you are and what you want to do. And that's for me the greatest thing about it. So, if hopefully you learned a thing or two today, because every hour you structure with intention and investment in your future, that makes all the difference. Now, let me ask you again, what is your biggest insight? What is your biggest routine shift? I mean it. Because for me, it's a game changer. And I always knew about it, never did it. So let me ask you, or maybe you need to DM me or tag me so I can learn about your biggest insights or routine shifts. Because for me, doing this is a life changer and you deserve it. Not just do you deserve it, I think it will make you a more productive human being. And as entrepreneurs, we're so busy as it is. And that three little things, and then I should, stop for the day. But my three biggest game changers was being grateful. That whole idea of saying thank you. And it doesn't matter who you say thank you to. The second thing was looking at my calendar the night before, because looking at it the night before made all the difference on how I show up the following day. And then the final thing is being intentional. And I love this little exercise. I talk a lot about Tony Robbins. I'm a big fan of his, where he has this little exercise. It takes about 15 minutes. And for me, that's the greatest thing we do. And we do this before every single meeting or big meeting. So I invite you to hopefully, you have learned something here, but I invite you to subscribe to our channel, leave a review, share this episode with somebody you know, or share it with another entrepreneur, because I want to learn from them what makes them successful. Because for me, at the end of the day, if we have create written on here, because for me, create is more than just a word. For me, create is we creating conversation. At that desk I'm sitting on was created because somebody said, we need to have this desk which is shaped in a triangle and it needs to be connected to your watch. And when the watch says you need to stand, the whole desk moves up. It's so amazing. And there's probably somebody said, no, it's a terrible idea. And somebody said, this is an amazing idea, and build it. And I'm sitting on here. So for me, I want you to create, because for me, creating is that morning routine, daily routine, night routine, whatever you want to call it. And I want to learn from you. So let me know below what connected with you the most today, or what have you learned about your routines? When do you show up best for your family? When do you show up best for yourself? When do you show up best for your friends? Because for me, at the end of the day, this is what this is about: leaving people better than we found them. Not just that, learn them or teach them a thing or two and learn from them in the process. Because people are doing some amazing things. And when you open to that and being intentional, things are so much easier. So with that, I want to say thanks for being here this beautiful Friday. Hopefully you learned a thing or two, because I know every time I talk to you guys, I learn. And for me, it kind of reinforces my routines. So with that, I want to thank you. Have an amazing weekend. And I see you next week. Thanks, everybody.